Number 14. Frilled shark. The frilled shark exhibits several primitive characteristics that have led to it being deemed a living fossil. Indeed, this animal belongs to one of the oldest lineages of sharks still in existence, possibly dating back to the late Jurassic, roughly 150 million years ago. Mysterious and elusive, the frilled shark has long been likened to the mythical sea dragon. It has an eel-like body which can grow to over 6 feet in length. It's believed that this creature hunts prey by bending its body and then lunging forward, much like a snake would. It gets its common name from the frilly appearance of its gill slits. While the frilled shark doesn't own the impressive jaw power of other shark species, it does have a number of fascinating adaptations. Its jaws are long, flexible, and feature around 300 needle-like teeth. They face inwards and are perfectly designed for snatching soft-bodied prey such as squid or octopus. This creature has rarely been observed alive, and it's not really regarded as dangerous towards humans. However, its teeth are so sharp that scientists have sustained accidental cuts while attempting to study them. Number 13. Anglerfish. Most anglerfish species basically look like human fists with teeth. A wide mouth covers much of the head circumference, and both its jaws feature inclined, fang-like teeth. The anglerfish has flexible bones, enabling it to expand its stomach and jaws to swallow prey up to twice its size. While this would be enough to give them a creepy status, they also have other bizarre adaptations. These deep-dwelling fish have a modified dorsal spine, which they use to lure in prey. It extends from above the fish's eyes and represents the source of its common name. The spine ends in an irregular fleshy growth called the ESCA, which the anglerfish can wiggle in all directions. Bacteria dwelling in and around the ESCA give it luminescence. Therefore, in the dark, deep-sea environment, the anglerfish's prey will mistake it for an easy meal. This brings various shrimps and crustaceans within the range of the anglerfish's inescapable jaws to be devoured whole. Number 12. Suckerfish. Suckerfish is the common name attributed to remoras, ray-finned fish from the Echinidae family. Their first dorsal fins consist of a modified sucker, which enables them to latch onto larger animals such as whales, turtles, sharks, or even human divers. This oval-shaped organ begins to show when the fish is young, is made up of modified membranes, which are used to generate suction. The relationship between suckerfish and the animals to which they become attached may seem parasitic, but is believed to be mutually beneficial. As suckerfish move around the host, they get rid of parasites or loose flakes of skin. At one point, it was suspected that suckerfish mainly fed on remains from their host meals. However, evidence indicates that their primary diet is actually the host feces. Humans have taken advantage of the suckerfish's unique adaptations. Throughout the Indian Ocean as well as areas in Africa and Australia, these creatures have been used as bait for turtles. A cord is tied around the suckerfish's tail, and once a turtle is spotted, the fish is released in the water. The suckerfish will go straight for the turtle and become attached to its shell. By employing this technique, fishermen can haul small turtles directly into their boats and bring the larger ones within harpoon range. Number 11. Tonguefish. Judging strictly based on appearance, the tonguefish doesn't necessarily come across as monstrous. In fact, it's rather unassuming. Most species rarely exceed 13 inches in length, and they have a flattened appearance, yet the tonguefish exhibits remarkable behavior unknown in other fish species. It congregates in great numbers at hydrothermal vents found on the ocean floor. It's a hellish environment, and no one knows how the tonguefish is able to survive or why exactly it's drawn to it. The temperatures often exceed 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and pools of molten sulfur are scattered all over the area. Some fish were actually spotted lying in these boiling pools. The biological mechanism of thriving in one of the most hostile places on Earth remains unknown and an object of scientific fascination. Number 10. Blobfish. The blobfish typically lives at depths between 2,000 and 3,900 feet off the coast of Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. Most blobfish images circulating online show it as a depressed gelatinous mass that looks like it's in constant pain. It would have earned a higher place on our Creepiest list were this an accurate representation of the blobfish in its natural habitat. Since it lives at great depths, this creature has adapted to pressure 60 to 100 times greater than that at sea level. This means that it has relatively no muscle and its body density is only slightly less than that of water. The blobfish can thus float above the surface of the seafloor without wasting energy on swimming. It primarily feeds on edible matter that floats towards it. When taken out of the deep sea environment, the fish suffers decompression damage. In its natural habitat, the fish isn't really that bizarre looking. However, once it's brought to the surface, the effects of decompression turn it into what looks like a melting blob. Number 9. Jawfish. Jawfish typically inhabit the warmer parts of the Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Oceans at depths ranging from shallow to several hundred feet. Most species rarely exceed 4 inches, but the giant jawfish can grow to be nearly 2 feet. While definitely not the creepiest in terms of appearance, the jawfish has several bizarre adaptations. It creates burrows by digging with its mouth. The jawfish stuffs its mouth with sand and then spits it out elsewhere as it creates tunnels in the sandy substrata. Additionally, like several other fish species, jawfish are mouthbrooders. What this means is that they keep their eggs in their mouths until they hatch, so that newborns are protected from predators. Number 8. Mangrove killifish. There wouldn't be many extraordinary aspects about the mangrove killifish if not for the fact that it's a fish that can live in trees. This fascinating species is found along the coasts of Florida and Mexico, as well as Central and South America. On land, the small killifish can do repeated tail flips. It pushes its tail against the surface with such force that when released, its body is sent flying through the air. Then, the mangrove killifish enters tree burrows previously made by insects. It can spend almost 66 consecutive days out of water. It excretes nitrogen waste through its skin, while its gills are altered to retain nutrients and water. The gills are changed back when the fish returns to the aquatic environment. Number 7. Black dragonfish. When it comes to the black dragonfish, known by its scientific name Ideacanthus atlanticus, the females are arguably more terrifying than their male counterparts. Not only are they much larger, but they also own canine teeth and a barbel that extends from their lower jaw. These apex predators are also capable of opening their jaws more than 100 degrees, thus enabling them to consume prey that's double their standard length. Black dragonfish are typically found at depths down to 6,600 feet. Males always remain below 3,300 feet, but at night, females are believed to travel closer to surface waters in search of food. Like other deep-dwelling fish species, the black dragonfish is capable of bioluminescence. There is, however, one significant difference. Most predators, including the previously mentioned anglerfish, employ their light-making ability to attract prey. The black dragonfish actively uses it when hunting, as it's actually capable of seeing its own light. The wavelength is barely visible to the human eye as it's almost in the infrared spectrum. The black dragonfish thus relies on what's basically a type of invisible flashlight in order to detect prey. Number 6. Tubi. Stylophorus caudatus, also known as the tubi, is found all over the world in tropical and subtropical waters. It's so rare and unusual that it's the only fish of its genus in the Stylophoridae family. The body of this deep-sea dwelling fish only grows to be about 11 inches long. However, the pair of fin rays on its tail nearly triples its body length. When it feeds, the tubi increases its tubular mouth almost 40 times its original size. Seawater is then expelled through the gills, leaving behind its food, which primarily consists of small crustaceans called copepods. During the day, this fish lives in the deep, and at night it climbs towards the surface to feed. Its eyes, which are arguably its creepiest physical feature, resemble a pair of binoculars and are adapted for deep-sea life. Number 5. Sheep's head. The sheep's head is found in western Atlantic coastal waters, from Brazil to Nova Scotia. These fish are skilled at stealing bait from human fishers and are known to feed on oysters, clams, crustaceans, and barnacles. It crushes the shell of its prey using its hard mouth and stubby teeth. The creepiest aspect about the sheep's head is that its teeth bear an uncanny resemblance to those of human beings. The combination that defines its dentition is also bizarrely human-like. The front of the jaw features well-defined incisors. Then there are rows of molars and strong, heavy grinders set at the back of the jaw. Number 4. Sarpa salpa. The Sarpa salpa, colloquially known as the dreamfish, is found in the Mediterranean as well as the East Atlantic. This creature rose to global attention in 2006 amidst claims that its ingestion has hallucinogenic effects. Its psychoactive nature became the subject of media attention after 2 men consumed the fish at a Mediterranean restaurant. They experienced many auditory and visual hallucinations, which were described as nightmarish. They occurred a few hours after the men had eaten the fish and lasted nearly 36 hours. One of them reportedly saw giant screaming arthropods. It got so bad that he couldn't drive and had to check himself into a hospital. The Sarpa salpa was deemed unsafe following a study that was conducted on its viscera. It's still unclear what renders the fish capable of inducing sensations akin to DMT or LSD. The main theory is that this characteristic isn't an inherent trait of the Sarpa salpa, since others have consumed it without experiencing any side effects. It's believed that it becomes hallucinogenic after ingesting a particular algae or phytoplankton. Number 3. Hammerhead. Hammerheads are definitely among the animal kingdom's creepiest sharks. The various hammerhead species share a distinctive feature in the form of flattened and laterally extended heads. This hammer-like shape is called a cephalofoil, and it has a number of suspected functions. One is that it might help the shark maneuver in close quarters without losing stability. Another is that it gives the hammerhead 360-degree vision in the vertical plane, meaning that it sees above and below at all times. Another suspected function is that the hammer-like shape enhances an existing sensory function. Like other shark species, hammerheads have organs capable of electroreception, called the ampullae of Lorenzini. Pores on the shark's head are connected to specialized tubes that detect the electricity emitted by other living creatures. In the hammerhead's case, these receptors are distributed across a wider surface. This potentially means that, similar to having a larger radio antenna, the sharks can better detect food. Aside from these fascinating attributes, the cephalofoil is also used as a weapon. Hammerheads have been observed using their head to pin down prey and bite into it while it's weakened. Reproduction is also a violent affair for these sharks. It only occurs once a year and typically involves the male brutally and repeatedly biting the female until she agrees to mate with him. The great hammerhead is the largest and most aggressive shark of its kind. It's a species known for infrequent cannibalism, including of its own young. Great hammerheads can grow to be nearly 20 feet long and weigh close to 1,300 pounds. In spite of these proportions, no human fatalities have been connected to hammerhead attacks. Number 2. Sarcastic fringehead. As it opens its mouth, a sarcastic fringehead looks like some kind of alien creature from a science fiction movie. Its large mouth and aggressive territorial behavior is where the species, scientifically known as Neoclinus blanchardi, gets its common name from. To establish dominance, males engage in territorial battles. The wrestling matches consist of them pressing their distended mouths against each other. This enables them to determine whose is larger and therefore which male is superior. These creatures are a type of tube blenny, and they swim in short and fast, dart-like movements. They'll typically hide inside shells and crevices, but may also dwell in submerged man-made objects such as soda cans or plastic tubes. Before we continue, official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. Stop clowning around and check it out, because your purchases really help support the channel. Number 1. Stonefish. The stonefish is among the most venomous creatures found in the ocean. Stonefish have spines on their bodies which stick up when they're threatened or disturbed. At the base of these dorsal spines, there are glands which secrete powerful neurotoxins. To human beings, the sting of the stonefish is incredibly painful and potentially deadly. Moreover, it's really difficult for swimmers to notice that the creature is nearby. Much like its common name would suggest, this creature resembles the stones of the reefs it inhabits. Because of this mottled camouflage, swimmers might inadvertently step on it. The harder the pressure, the more venom the stonefish will inject. A recent study has also discovered that these creatures have a secondary defense mechanism called a lacrimal saber. This is a switchblade-like spine they deploy from their heads when contracting their cheek muscles. When considering the stonefish's highly potent venom, outstanding camouflage ability, and the dagger concealed in its head, it's not hard to understand the leading position it takes among the ocean's creepiest. Thanks for watching. Would you rather face a great hammerhead in open water or have to explain internet memes to your grandparents? Let us know in the comments section below.